Have you ever been away from home or in a strange place? Have you ever felt like the odd one out, or that you were different from everyone else? Then maybe you can understand how the Jewish people felt when they lost their temple and their homeland and were forced to live among people with different beliefs. Judaism had 4 central beliefs that made them different than other people of their time. The first one was monotheism, belief in one God. The second one was following God's laws, like the 10 Commandments and the Torah. Third was equality and justice. They believed that all people who kept the laws were equal, and that caring for the less fortunate was part of their religion. And number 4 was the importance of study. They believed you had to study and discuss the Torah as a way of understanding and practicing their religion. Let's take a look back so you can better understand where the Jewish people came from. After the death of King Solomon, the Hebrews split into 2 kingdoms. The northern kingdom of Israel was conquered by the Assyrians in 722 BC. The southern kingdom of Judah was conquered by the Babylonians. Remember King Nebuchadnezzar? He destroyed Jerusalem and the temple, and he took the Hebrews to Babylon as slaves. From this point on, the Jews were scattered in many lands. This was called the Jewish Diaspora. The Jews lived in Babylon for almost 50 years as slaves. Then when the Babylonians were conquered by the Persians, King Cyrus released the Jews. Some returned home, but to what? The Jews who did return home rebuilt Jerusalem under Persian rule. But next came the Greeks, who wanted the Jews to worship idols of the Greek gods inside their temples. This was too much for the Jews. They rebelled and fought the Greeks for 27 years, and actually won. To this day, the Jews celebrate Hanukkah, or the Festival of Lights, in honor of this victory. Freedom! Finally! But not for long. Next came the Romans, who brutally conquered the Jewish people, executing over 50,000 Jews. But the Romans let the Jews practice their own religion and govern some of their own affairs. It was during this time that the Jewish king Herod rebuilt the temple in Jerusalem. It took 46 years and was more magnificent than King Solomon's. The Jews persevered under the Romans until 66 CE, when the Jews revolted against them. They fought for 3 years, but the Romans outmanned them and destroyed the city of Jerusalem and the temple. All that's left of the Great Temple is the Western, or the Wailing Wall, and it is still sacred to the Jews today. As punishment for revolting, the victorious Romans forbid the Jews from entering the city of Jerusalem and sent them all over the Roman Empire. So the Jews had lost their homeland, their holy city, and their great temple. They were spread out all over the world and living amongst the Gentiles, or non-Jewish people. You'd think after such a rough and violent history they'd give it up. But no, instead they found ways to keep their religion alive. First of all, Rabbi Yohanan ben Zakkai helped preserve Judaism by founding a Jewish school in Yaveh. When Jerusalem fell, Yaveh became the center of Jewish life. Rabbis came from all over the world to study there, and then returned home to share what they had learned with their communities. Ben Zakkai also helped create a new religious lawmaking body to ensure that the teachings of Judaism would be passed on. This group of rabbis decided any adult male could read from the Torah. They also made the synagogue more than a place of worship. It became a place to study, hold meetings, and socialize. Synagogues helped Jews strengthen their communities and their faith. Man, these Jews have been through a lot. The Assyrians, the Babylonians, the Persians, the Greeks, the Romans. But through it all, they held on to their beliefs, being monotheistic, following God's laws, believing in equality and social justice, and demonstrating the importance of study. They have adapted to spreading all over the world by starting a school to train rabbis, by letting adult males read from the Torah, and by making the synagogues a place of worship and the center of their communities. This isn't the end of Jewish history, but the foundation of it, which has allowed Judaism to continue to flourish all over the world.